It feels like a family reunion at the Star in Frisco. Zeke is back with Dak. Plus, a draft recap. How are the Cowboys now in the trenches on the offensive line? And we take our swing at the Home Run Derby on this edition of the Blitz.
Pops out to the right, breaks a tackle. They blitz it. Prescott throws it down the right side for Lamb. Caught it! Back to throw, rush, sacked by Parsons.
Bell-tie snap. Prescott with plenty of time. Lobs it end zone. Jake Ferguson.
It's beginning to feel a little more like football out here at the Star in Frisco. Welcome to the Blitz. Bill Jones along with Nicole Hutchison. We got the draft in the rearview mirror. We have the pleasure here in the studios at the Star to look out on that practice field, and we can actually see players on the field taking part of the off-season program. This past week, Nicole, coaches can be out there as well. We've got a football team developing here.
Oh, yeah, it's May, then it'll be June, then right around the corner it will be July. I mean, training camp is right around the corner. I'm so excited for the competition at all the different positions.
You know, it's very interesting to see how this team has come together. And the big news of this past week, of course, Ezekiel Elliott is back with the Cowboys, and you were among the first to talk to him after Zeke signed his contract.
Man, and he's so excited, right? I mean, he came up to do the interview with me and just had this big old smile from ear to ear, so excited to get back here in Dallas. And I know that was also his ultimate goal, to get back here in Dallas.
And his first mission was get out at the Home Run Derby on Wednesday night with his teammates. And it seemed like old home week as Zeke was alongside Dak. And we had a chance to catch up with Zeke and just get his thoughts on being the lead back once again here in Dallas.
I think at the end of the day, I'm a football player. I love this game. I think I still am a dominant guy. I mean, I gotta go out there and prove that. But that's some motivation. But I think we all know, how I feel about competing and leaving it all out there for my team.
Zeke's got that smile on his face. He looks good as well. And of course, 8 years after he was the fourth pick in the draft back in 2016, same draft that produced Dak Prescott. Here he is back after one season in New England.
And there's so many people doubting the fact that this was a good move, and I'm not sure why. I mean, you're getting a guy, right, this veteran presence, but you're also getting a guy that does not get enough respect for his ability to read defenses, right, in this league. I think he's one of the best in the league. You look at what he did with the Patriots last year. He had 5 touchdowns, right? The rest of the room combined for 7. So you got to look at those numbers and look at how productive he was for that Patriots team. And I think he can come back here, do really well with these younger guys and help them improve as well.
And you consider the fact what the Patriots lacked on offense last year, a 4-13 team with not much going on in their offensive line as well. But Zeke with 51 catches out of the backfield. He had a combined number of yards that approached 1,000 last year with the Patriots.
Yeah, I got a chance to actually ask him about that as well. That was one of his better seasons as far as receiving. In the first couple of years, he was utilized as a guy that could come out of the backfield and make some plays as a receiver. But, I mean, this is something that he wants to continue to showcase in Dallas, and he said that in my interview. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, and this is a different deal than what it was when Zeke was drafted his rookie season, and he was expected to be the guy that gets the brunt of the carries and so forth. Now, he may have more carries than others in the backfield, but it's more of a running back by committee now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Do you think this is more of something like they did in the early 2000s, I think the 2003 season, where it was a running back by committee type of thing?
Well, Will McClay talked about that very thing, and that's sort of the expectation here. Yeah, Zeke has the experience. Zeke is the guy that's probably going to be starting. You picked up a veteran in Royce Freeman, but really they like the progress that Rico Dowdle has made, and of course Deuce Vaughn now going into his second year, and there's a stable of 8 running backs now on this roster, which I don't think I've ever seen that on an NFL roster.
And somebody's got to be able to get it done, right? You have Rico Dowdle coming off of one of his best seasons as a Dallas Cowboy. Deuce Vaughn, who didn't get the reps that he necessarily would have liked, but he still has a lot of room for improvement. We saw a little bit of Hunter Lipke and what he was able to do, especially like red zone guy. So I'm looking forward to that room, and especially how they can develop as well.
You know, the thing that I'm more interested in than the running backs is how that offensive line will come together and create holes for those running backs, which will take us to segment number 2 here on the Blitz, as Nick Harris will join us and we'll break down Tyler Guyton and the other rookie draft picks and how quickly they can make an impact.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz, presented by Blockchain.com, is brought to you by AT&T, an official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. This segment is brought to you by AT&T, an official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Blitz continues now here inside the Globe Life studio at the beautiful Star in Frisco. Bill Jones, Nicole Hutchison, and now joined by Nick Harris of DallasCowboys.com. We're doing our post-draft recap here. Where does this team set now? And this draft was about digging into the trenches and getting all those offensive linemen. And now potentially, Nick, you're looking at 2 rookie starters on this offensive line.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy and offensive line coach Mike Solari wanted help on the offensive line going into this draft. Boy, did they get it. 3 of the 8 picks used in the trenches. And as you said, potentially 2 rookies that we could see start up front in Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe.
Speaking of Tyler Guyton, there's a lot of questions and concerns about whether or not he has enough starting experience, right? And he has 14 starts, 1 start at left tackle, and he obviously has to come in and play left tackle. How much confidence do you have in him to be able to make the switch, and do you believe that he's NFL ready?
Yeah, no one cares about my confidence, but I'll talk to you about the confidence of the front office and the scouting department. We were able to ask them those very same questions coming out of Thursday night and on Friday during the introductory press conference. Yes, he played most of his time at right tackle at Oklahoma, but he was still protecting the blind side of the quarterback for left-handed QB Dylan Gabriel for the Sooners. So he has that same type of protection skill set to where he needs to be able to create a wide pocket around the outside and keep those athletic edge rushers off of his quarterback. Now, granted, moving to the left side, I was able to talk to Tyler Guyton about that, and he said it's more so just about mirroring every single thing that he does, from hand placement to eyes to his footwork. He's just going to have to be able to flip everything in his mind. It's kind of like a right-handed pitcher being a left-handed pitcher at the end of the day, asking him to throw with a different type of hand if he's ambidextrous. But for the offensive line, there's a lot more freedom to be able to do that when you have the length and athleticism that Tyler Guyton has at 6'8" and 320 pounds.
And Tyler told the media as well that he feels like he's more natural on the left side than the right side. Anyway, we shall see on that. How about the 3rd-round pick, big Cooper Beebe out of K-State?
Yeah, talk about versatility. You're hoping he's a guy that can be able to slide inside to center. He was a 2-time Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year, but he played most of his time at left guard. I was able to catch up with a former Kansas State staffer right after he got picked last week and asked him, hey, is he cerebral enough to play the center position? Has he ever played at center in practice or anything like that? He said he is extremely cerebral enough to be able to do that. He understands what's going on with all 5 guys up front. He was calling out things from left guard in his senior season with the Wildcats, and he said that he filled in at center during practice opportunities whenever they needed him to slide inside for injured guys. He can play any position up front. This is what the staffer told me, and if he needs to be able to play center, that staffer feels incredibly confident that he can do that.
You had a chance to also speak with another staffer, offensive line coach at Louisiana, on Nathan Thomas, 7th-round pick for the Cowboys. What's your thoughts on him, and what's your biggest takeaways from that conversation?
Yeah, talking to the assistant offensive line coach over at Louisiana Lafayette, just trying to understand the product that Nathan Thomas could be bringing to this offensive line room. Yes, he has this crazy length that plays at left tackle, played at right tackle for the Raging Cajuns, but he also has some guard flex. He was able to do that a lot in practice opportunities for the Cajuns, but it's probably the tackle position is where you're going to see him try to factor himself into the depth equation. It's the length. You see the length out there on the edge, and he gets after it in the run game. Coach West, he told me that he loves to get off of the ball, and he likes to hurt people in the run game and get into the second level. I think whenever you factor in the fact that the Cowboys wanted to get better in the run game going into this year. And yes, it's a 7th-round pick. Yes, this is probably not a guy that is going to immediately contribute in 2024, but this is a guy that they want to be able to eventually use in the run game to be able to help the guys in the running back room. And coming away without a running back in the draft, you're definitely going to need as much help up front as you can get.
Oh, but they did get a running back in the 8th round of the draft. We've already talked about young Ezekiel Elliott. I still say young Ezekiel Elliott. And young Nick Harris, we appreciate you joining us as usual here on The Blitz. And up next, how about we take a trip out to Writers Field and see Brian Anger and the rest of the Cowboys in that home run derby.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T, an official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Blitz continues now. Bill Jones along with Nicole Hutchison. And the other thing about springtime here at the Star, there's sort of a sense of baseball at times out here.
Yeah, and also just a sense of the Dallas Cowboys always making sure that these players get out in the community and give back. And this time they traded in footballs for some baseball bats to swing for the fences and raise money for the Salvation Army.
I used to be a very good hitter, just haven't swung the stick in a while.
It looks like it came back okay.
What's that?
Looks like it came back okay.
Yep, like riding a bike. It's exciting though, just to be able to go back and forth, compete with the guys, raise money for Reliant. It's something that I take a lot of pride in. No better place and organization than the Dallas Cowboys. So being able to just to come and on behalf of them is always great, and I'm blessed.
It's always bigger than us, especially in the off season when we got so much more time on our hand. To be able to get out here and spend time with the fans, raise money for a special cause. Our season is so busy, but the off season is so important to be able to just get out in the community.
I'm kind of surprised about my performance, but that's actually kind of tiring up there.
I did all right. I did better than I thought.
Yesterday I went to batting cage, tried to get the feel swinging a bat. It's been a long time, but it feels good. A little different from swinging the leg? Oh yeah, way different.
Anytime that I get an opportunity to do anything like this, I'm all for it and looking forward to helping and impacting other people's lives. Just as if I would want somebody to do for me if I was less fortunate or below, a level that I couldn't support myself.
Cowboys players raised $104,900 with Brian Anger winning MVP. He raised the most with obviously the most home runs, so it was pretty awesome to see that side of him.
It does. You like having an athletic punter like that. How about that? 17 long balls for Brian Anger. But you can also see on display that there are some pretty good athletes on this team, too.
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert, right? I mean, there were some rumors that he might have gotten drafted out of high school, the MLB. We don't know. We have not fact-checked that yet, but I'm pretty sure the way he was swinging the bat, I don't know. Probably so.
Okay. Well, speaking of Jalen Tolbert, how about we turn our attention to the Cowboys wide receiver room when we come back here on The Blitz? Do they have enough in that room in 2024?
This segment was brought to you by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
What advice would you give CD about his contract negotiations since you've been through it?
Yeah, no, my biggest advice for him is just, keep grinding, which I know he's doing. Stay ready, which I know he's doing. And so when he comes back out, there won't be no step loss. The guy's a freak. He deserves everything that's coming his way. And I hope he gets every single dollar that he can and the highest paid receiver in the league because he's the greatest receiver in the league, no doubt.
Great having the veteran Brandon Cooks in that Cowboys wide receiver room coming off a season, his first with the Cowboys, where he had 8 touchdown catches. And now at the age of 30, he's still got a lot in the tank. And how about the rest of this wide receiver room? Let's start with CeeDee Lamb. He's talking about CD there. amazing the numbers that CD put up, and it's amazing the numbers he's going to have in his bank account pretty soon, too.
Well, he needs to have a lot of numbers in his bank account. I mean, you look at what he did in 2023. He led the NFL in receptions with 135. One of the NFL's top leading guys in receiving yards, 124.3 passer rating when targeting from Dak Prescott, first in receptions, yards, and targets in franchise history. I mean, you see the numbers. Numbers don't lie, right? And you've obviously got to pay this guy. I mean, just what he's done for this organization, wearing that number 88 very well. I mean, you've got to pay him.
With the wide receivers being signed to long-term contracts here in the last couple of weeks, Jerry is waiting to see where the numbers fall. So is CD, and hopefully things will get worked out fairly quickly there, and where he won't miss much time. But you know he's going to get his work in with Dak on the side, even if he's not here at the Star in Frisco. How about Brandon Cooks, though, and what Brandon Cooks means to this wide receiver group?
Kind of the similarities to Ezekiel Elliott, right? You get that veteran presence, and so many of the guys like CD Lamb and Jalen Tolbert have learned from him, right? I know Jalen Tolbert actually spent a couple of weeks with him in Oregon learning and training from him. So, I mean, you're getting a guy that obviously has so much speed. His route running ability is off the charts at his age, right? Didn't have the production that I know he was used to having in his previous seasons, but that took a little bit of time from the Cowboys, just learning getting their identity together, right? The first couple of weeks of the year in 2023, but they eventually found it, got him some plays, and he was able to make plays when needed.
And of course, Michael Gallup this past week signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Who's going to step up into that number 3 role in the Cowboy wide receiver corps? We had a chance to catch up with Jalen Tolbert, and let's hear what Jalen has to say about what's happening here as we approach the summer of 24.
Not to set them too high, but I mean, do what a lot of people think that I can't do, and that I know that I can do. So that's my goal, is to go out and prove to myself that I am who I say I am. Obviously, you hear that all the time, but just go out there and chase greatness. I have 2 guys that run right along with me, and CD and B Cooks, and looking forward to following in their footsteps and doing what I can to create value on this team and create value in this league.
You know, one thing about Jalen Tolbert, he spent 5 seasons at South Alabama and was sort of a late bloomer there. He's actually a couple of months older than CD Lamb. He's 25 years old, going into his 3rd year in the league now, and he knows it's time, and the opportunity is ripe for him to step up.
And that's something that Mike McCarthy also says, that some guys take a little bit longer to develop than others, right? And Jalen Tolbert is just obviously one of those guys. He hadn't really shown that consistency that he could be a kind of regular contributor, but I do feel that he, like you said, he knows the opportunity that he has at stake. I mean, no, last year, 24 receptions, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, not the numbers he wants, but he knows the opportunity he has, and he's just got to make the most of it.
Yep, and when you look at the rest of the wide receiver room, you had the 7th round draft pick from last year, another Jalen Brooks, who is going to get a big opportunity as well this year. And I look at Kevontae Turpin, too. I think Kevontae can be used more in the passing game than what we've seen in the past. You know, the Chiefs traded up in the 1st round to take Xavier Worthy out of Texas. Kevontae Turpin has some of the same kind of traits as a receiver that Worthy had with the Longhorns.
Yeah, I mean, you can use Turpin out of the backfield, right? You can also, he can line up anywhere, right? And he's got so much speed, which is why obviously he's on special teams, right? So yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that you got to use Kevontae Turpin. He's so useful, valuable.
All right, we wrap up the Blitz. When we come back, you can't tell the players without a program at Liz is until you see our next segment, where we got the jersey numbers for the rookies and the jersey number changes for the vets.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz, presented by Blockchain.com, was brought to you by AT&T, an official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
Final couple of minutes here of the Blitz. Bill Jones with Nicole Hutchison, and now it is time to put a number with a draft pick pick name. And we will show you right off the top the first-round draft pick, Tyler Guyton, as expected, will wear number 60, just like he did at Oklahoma. How about the second-round pick, Marshawn Nealon? He will sport the number 94. That was a pretty good number for DeMarcus Ware back in the day as a defensive end for this team.
Pretty cool number to have, right? Coming in your first year, having to obviously live up to those expectations. It's going to be hard, right? But, you know, obviously got to set the tone when you come in. So,
Kalen Carson's number 41. Terrence Newman wore 41 here. You look at these numbers and you wonder, wait a second. Marist Lufau is wearing number 35. Isn't that DeMarvion Overshown's number? No, wait, it was his number. DeMarvion is changing numbers. Here are your veteran jersey number changes. Jalen Tolbert is switching from 18 to number 1. Overshown from 35 to 13. Zeke is going to wear number 15. Coming soon to a Cowboys pro shop near you. Zeke with the number 15 jersey. Damone Clark is switching to 18 and Trey Lance 19. And yes, Martavius Bryant is on this team.
I like that Jalen Tolbert number 1, right? Because if he has a big year, right, year 3 for him, and just that number 1, it would just be so fitting for him. Right? Zeke back to his college number, that'd be pretty dope.
There you go. I like it. All right, that does it for this edition of The Blitz. For Nicole Hutchison, I'm Bill Jones, and we will see you again next week here on The Blitz.